Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome military consultant Mike Raza.
Thank you. Hello, hopefully everybody had a great lunch. Excellent. All right, I'm gonna get us started for our afternoon activities. My name is Mike Raza. I am a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and I have conducted project efforts across Europe and the United States. And today, I'm going to talk to you about Lean Six Sigma rapid improvement projects. The topics we're gonna have, the topics we're gonna discuss is using Lean Six Sigma to eliminate waste in our government processes. We're going to talk about 3 examples in which these methodologies delivered rapid results and reduced costs and eliminated waste. Then we're going to talk, in addition to these 3 projects, we're going to talk about the impact that we use this methodology, talk about the impact on overall government organizations. And then from there, we're going to talk about our way ahead, how we can spread this and utilize this methodology to reduce waste. In most of our processes, in most government processes, we've talked about some great examples. We had the MRAP example, and we've had many successes with projects like those. But there's also the transactional processes, the paper pushing, the information movement. We have many processes across this country that have waste in it. Waste is something that has no value to the folks in this room, has no value to the end user, the customer, the soldier. Waste are things like reports. Reports generated weeks, months after the fact. Data review, data collection of how our processes are performing. And we present that data information in a million different ways, telling the same story. Reviews. Who's heard about bureaucracy? Who's heard about just churn cycles in which we review information? It tells the same story, but we try to take it from a happy to glad story. And then rework. Just in with that, we're talking about the review cycle, it's rework, because when someone looks at it and says, oh, I don't like this, we then have to rework it. In all these cases, we're adding cost and we're adding time to these processes and delaying providing a service to the end user of these processes, whether it's the soldiers, whether it's the American people, or whether it's the next agency waiting on that piece of information or that service. Well, we're going to talk about 3 examples. What you see on the screens are 3 projects, 3 simple projects that reduced waste in 2 to 3 months. Folks that have heard about Lean Six Sigma, sometimes they say, oh, the project takes too long. I say that they're incorrect on that. You can do these projects, these value-added, these good projects in 2 to 3 months. Project 1 was Headquarter Army Europe, G3 Operations, Permanent Orders Processing. This is the organization that gives the permanent orders to the soldier that's going downrange, that's going to theater. A lot of times I heard soldiers say, I know I'm going, I haven't received my paperwork yet. And the reason is there was waste in this process, rework and review, and it delayed providing this information to our soldiers. We had so much rework in it that we had an analyst, a senior analyst, whose full-time job was just to churn this information. Well, the G3 identified it as a potential project. They drafted a project statement, and they assigned that analyst as the black belt to solve the problem. He improved the process. He eliminated the rework. He standardized the tools, templates, and the information, and brought everybody together. It produced a $1 million savings, enabled us to provide that information on time, eliminated the rework, and that analyst was no longer needed for that job. That analyst actually became a black belt, did projects across Headquarters Europe, and now to this day, I still stay in touch with him. He's in Korea. He's in Korea doing projects to replicate the successes he had in the G3 elsewhere. Project 2 was in the 21st Theater Support Center in Europe. They had the Inspector General. This is an organization that provides legal support, legal counsel for the command. And they had received a cut in their budget the year prior. so they lost a resource. But no one changed their jobs. No one changed how they did business. So they still had to provide legal counsel advice to folks in the command. And what happened was they had officers, a major and a lieutenant colonel, and other senior folks dealing with phone calls, questions, simple questions. And they weren't able to do their day jobs and address larger legal issues. The major took this project on, improved the website, improved the interaction, actually went out and surveyed and talked to soldiers and resources across the command and said, what do you need from the IG? They automated that information, that communication support. And they then implemented. That major eventually went on to become a lieutenant colonel. So not only did they improve their communication, but they enabled themselves to work with the reduced budget, the reduced resource. In addition to be able to sustain that reduced resource, they then saved another $300,000 on top of it. And then last, the project number 3, this was in Nav Air. I don't know if anybody's seen, there's a movie, Office Space, where they talk about reports. I got a few chuckles out of that one, but there's many reports out there. And in Nav Air, Air 4.1, which is responsible for engineering changes to resources such as the F-18, F-18 Super Hornet, they had senior engineers generating these weekly reports. They spent up to 30% of their time generating these reports, which were basically reports for processes and occurrences that already happened. So it's like driving forward with the rearview mirror. They looked at the value of these reports and said, well, we need to improve this process. We need to make these reports quicker to produce so we can free up our time to work on weapon systems. Well, they looked at it and realized this report's of no value. No one's looking at it. It's like something you get CC'd on the email. It's like, oh, look, a report, that's cute, and then filed away. Well, when they looked at that value, they said, this has no value to our organization. They just stopped it. They didn't improve it. They determined that there was a need to stop that report. They generated $500,000 in savings. They stopped the report, saved money, and they allowed these engineers to do what they're there to do. They're engineers. They develop weapon systems. They improve our aircraft to produce better resources to our aviators. These 3 examples, 3 quick projects, produced nearly $2 million of savings through elimination of waste in less than 3 months. That's 3 projects. The question is, what would happen if you deployed that across the entire organization, let's say a command? Well, 2 commands did that. U.S. Army Europe and U.S. Army Forces Command. U.S. Army Europe saved $64 million in 1 year. U.S. Army Forces Command here in the United States saved $24 million in 1 year. That's $88 million of savings in 1 year from doing simple projects like this, projects that don't consume a lot of time, a lot of resources. They allow you to use the tools of Lean Six Sigma to make smart decisions on how to evolve your business to be more efficient, be more effective. An important thing to note is with these 2 commands, this is enabled by the leadership. We have General McKiernan and General Campbell. General McKiernan of U.S. Army Europe, and General Campbell of U.S. Army Forces Command. They saw the value in Lean Six Sigma. They saw the value of continuous process improvement, and they drove this. They weren't a catalyst, they weren't an enabler, they were a driver. And with that leadership support, with that leadership direction, them tracking it on a monthly basis at their main meetings where they basically saw, everybody brought together their big board meetings. They're basically hand on this program enabled that success. So the question is, where does this take us from, where do we go from here? These tools can quickly improve our government processes. We can reduce waste in our government organizations. They allow us to do it quickly. This isn't something that happens next year, 2 years, or 3 years from now. It's something we can do in as short as 2 months. We can eliminate that waste. And the thing is, we understand what the waste is. It's something that doesn't support our customers. It doesn't support our end users. So we know the targets. We know the issues out there. And these are the tools, Lean Six Sigma. This is the tool that we can use to improve those processes. But the most important thing, and the last piece of information I leave you with, we can deliver these rapid results, but we need leadership support. As I said, leadership, they're not a catalyst, they're not an enabler, they're not someone that sits far away from the issues. They are someone that drives a change. They say, this is important to me, this is something I need done, and they're going to do it. We've always said something in the Army, if it's important to the boss, it's important to me. And when it was important to the boss, it was important to everybody, and we did these changes, we did these projects, we saved the money, we eliminated the waste. Thank you very much.